Ladies and gentlemen, before you close your eyes tonight, I want you to pause and realize something powerful. The moments before you sleep are not just an ending. They are a beginning. The moments before sleep are often treated as the conclusion of our day, as if they are nothing more than a bridge between one stretch of waking hours and the next. Yet in truth, they hold much more power than most people recognize. These final moments are not simply an ending, they are a beginning. The way we close our day writes the first lines of tomorrow. It is during this delicate transition between wakefulness and rest that we program the state of mind we will carry into the next dawn. If the last thoughts before closing your eyes are heavy with regret, worry, or distraction, you are planting seeds of unrest that will sprout when you open your eyes again. But if you treat this time as a sacred ritual, the beginning of a new chapter, you allow yourself to step into tomorrow with clarity, lightness, and strength. Think about it. When the body sleeps, the mind continues to work. The subconscious absorbs and processes whatever lingers from the day. If your final moments are filled with negativity, then your subconscious labors overshadows, feeding your fears and deepening your anxieties. You may wake up drained, wondering why rest did not refresh you. But if you choose, instead, to release the burdens of the day, to acknowledge them, and then let them go, your mind rests as your body does. The subconscious becomes a gardener planting flowers instead of weeds, shaping a tomorrow that feels lighter and more hopeful. This is why what you do and what you think before sleep matters so deeply. Consider how often we allow our nights to be stolen by unfinished conversations, by screens glowing in our faces, by the constant noise of the world. We collapse into bed without reflection, without awareness, without gratitude. In doing so, we lose the chance to begin again. For the moments before sleep can be an intentional pause, a space to honor both the struggles and the triumphs of the day, and then to release them. Just as you would not carry heavy baggage into a new journey, you should not carry the baggage of the day into your night. Sleep is a journey too, and you must travel lightly if you wish to arrive with energy and peace. Treat these moments as a doorway rather than a wall. An ending is something that feels closed, finished, sometimes even permanent. A beginning, however, carries promise, possibility, and renewal. The time before you sleep is the doorway into that renewal. By reminding yourself that the day is complete and tomorrow is unwritten, you invite the possibility of transformation. You recognize that each night is not only a pause, but also a reset. What happened today does not have to define tomorrow. The arguments, the mistakes, even the victories, they can all be put down, so that when you rise, you are free to create again, not trapped by repetition. This perspective also teaches the discipline of presence. To honor the moments before sleep, as a beginning, requires that you truly arrive in them. You cannot cling to the regrets of the past or the worries of the future. You must be here, now, aware of your breath, aware of your thoughts, aware of the quiet closing of the day. In that awareness, peace emerges. Gratitude flows more naturally. You remember that the very act of lying down to rest is itself a blessing denied to many. That awareness transforms your state of mind, and it is in this transformed state that you drift into rest. So the moments before sleep become more than just a simple routine. They are a practice, a training of the mind and spirit. If you use them wisely, they are the first step toward becoming the person you wish to be tomorrow. By treating them as a beginning, you are claiming your power to shape what comes next, rather than being a prisoner of what has already been lived. This is the hidden gift of nightfall, that in the closing of your eyes, a new world is already being born within you. To let go of the day's weight is to free yourself from the invisible chains that so many people drag into their nights. Every day leaves behind a trail of experiences, moments of joy, moments of disappointment, tasks accomplished, tasks left undone, words spoken, words regretted. All of these accumulate like stones carried in a backpack. At first, you may not feel the heaviness, but as the hours pass, as you replay events and conversations in your mind, the weight grows. If you do not learn to release it, you carry this load into your sleep, and worse, into the next morning. Instead of beginning a new day fresh, you find yourself already exhausted by yesterday's baggage. To let go of the day's weight is not to ignore what happened, but to acknowledge it, and then lay it down, knowing it no longer belongs to you once the day is complete. Every interaction, every thought, every challenge leaves an imprint. Some of these imprints inspire gratitude and pride, but others stir anger, shame, or worry. When you hold on to them past their time, they rob you of peace. Sleep, which should be the body's sanctuary of renewal, becomes restless because the mind refuses to surrender. By releasing the weight, you allow yourself to step into rest, as you were meant to, unburdened, light, open to healing. Imagine placing every moment of the day into a box and closing the lid, not to forget, but to honor it as finished. There is power in declaring to yourself, "This day has served its purpose. I release it." Letting go does not mean pretending the day was perfect, or denying the pain it brought. It means recognizing that the past cannot be changed, that replaying it endlessly will not alter what has already been lived. To hold on to mistakes or regrets is to bind yourself to something that no longer exists except in memory. The mind has a way of gripping these things tightly, as if by analyzing them again and again we can somehow find relief. Yet relief never comes from clinging. It comes from loosening the grip, from choosing to accept what is already written. Letting go of the day's weight is the act of giving yourself permission to rest in peace, without dragging unresolved emotions into the night. There is also beauty in releasing not only the hardships of the day, but also its triumphs. Achievements, compliments, and victories are worthy of gratitude, but they too can become a burden if held onto too tightly. Pride can turn into pressure. Success can turn into fear of losing it. By letting go, you remind yourself that each day is unique and that tomorrow will bring its own opportunities and challenges. You do not need to live off yesterday's glory, just as you should not suffer yesterday's wounds. Both are to be acknowledged, appreciated, and released. When you let go of the day's weight, you are also protecting the most important part of yourself, your inner stillness. Inner stillness is like a calm lake. Each worry, each regret, each clinging thought is like a stone thrown into the water, disturbing its surface. If you throw enough stones, the lake never settles, but if you set the stones down instead of tossing them in, the water remains calm, reflective, and clear. That clarity is what allows you to connect with yourself at the deepest level, to sleep peacefully, and to awaken renewed. This practice requires trust. Trust that life continues to move forward. Trust that tomorrow will bring another chance. Trust that not everything needs to be controlled or solved in this very moment. It is an act of courage to lay down the weight, because the mind insists on holding on. But courage is not always found in fighting. Sometimes, courage is found in surrender. By letting go, you are not losing. You are choosing freedom. You are giving yourself space to heal, to recover, and to prepare for what lies ahead. To let go of the day's weight is to step into the night unburdened, carrying nothing but the lesson of what has passed. In doing so, you honor the day for what it gave you, and you honor yourself by not allowing it to take more than it should. It is the art of releasing in order to receive, of emptying the hands so that they may be filled again. Only when the weight of the day is laid down can the night truly restore you, and the dawn greet you as someone new. Forgiving yourself and detaching from fears or failures is one of the most liberating practices a human being can embrace, yet it is also one of the hardest. We are often quick to forgive others, to excuse their mistakes, to give them another chance, but when it comes to ourselves, we become our own harshest judges. The mind has a way of replaying errors, magnifying weaknesses, and holding on to guilt as if punishing ourselves will somehow undo the past. But punishment does not heal, it only deepens wounds. Forgiveness, on the other hand, is not about erasing what happened, but about accepting that imperfection is part of growth. To forgive yourself is to acknowledge that you acted with the knowledge and awareness you had at that time, and to allow yourself the grace to move forward without carrying shame as an eternal burden. Failures are not final sentences, they are teachers. Every stumble, every mistake carries within it a lesson about resilience, patience, humility, or wisdom. Yet, instead of learning, many people wrap themselves in the failure like a heavy cloak, wearing it so long that they begin to believe it is their identity. The truth is that failure is never who you are, it is only something you experienced. Just as the night is not permanent, but gives way to dawn, failure is not permanent, but gives way to progress, if you allow it. Detaching from failure means seeing it for what it is, a moment, not a destiny. It is a stepping stone, not a prison. Fear operates in a similar way. Fear whispers that you are not enough, that you will repeat the same mistakes, that trying again is dangerous. It paralyzes, convincing you that staying in place is safer than moving forward. Yet fear, like failure, is only as powerful as the attention you give it. To detach from fear is not to pretend it does not exist, but to refuse to let it control you. It is the understanding that fear is a natural signal from the mind, but it is not the voice of truth. You can acknowledge its presence, thank it for trying to protect you, and still step forward. Courage is not the absence of fear, courage is the decision to act even while fear whispers in your ear. Self-forgiveness and detachment require compassion. Compassion towards yourself may feel strange, because we are conditioned to believe that being hard on ourselves is the path to discipline and success. But harshness without compassion leads only to self-sabotage. When you forgive yourself, you create space to grow. When you detach from fears and failures, you create freedom to try again with wisdom rather than hesitation. The weight of guilt and fear is heavy, but once lifted, you discover how much energy and creativity were trapped beneath it. There is also a profound humility in forgiveness. It reminds you that you are human, that imperfection is part of the human journey, and that expecting perfection from yourself is as unrealistic as expecting it from anyone else. Each mistake shows you where you still need to learn. Each fear shows you where you have room to expand. Without mistakes, there would be no growth. Without fear, there would be no courage. In this way, both failures and fears are not enemies to run from but companions that guide you towards strength and wisdom. The key is not to cling to them, but to walk past them, thanking them for what they have revealed, and continuing your journey unchained. When you forgive yourself, you take away the power of the past to define you. When you detach from fear, you take away the power of the future to intimidate you. And when you release failure, you stand firmly in the present moment, where real life exists, and where real change can happen. This is the essence of freedom. To walk through life without being bound to what has already passed, or paralyzed by what has not yet come. It is the ability to see yourself not as a collection of mistakes and fears, but as a being capable of continuous transformation. To forgive yourself and detach is to declare, again and again, that you are more than your past, stronger than your fears, and always becoming something greater than what you were yesterday. The mind is a garden, and every thought you plant before sleep is a seed that grows quietly through the night. When you program your subconscious positively before bed, you are choosing to sow seeds of strength, peace, and growth instead of leaving the soil vulnerable to weeds of fear, regret, and doubt. The subconscious is most receptive in the moments before you drift into sleep, because the critical, logical part of your mind begins to quiet down, and the deeper layers of awareness become open. Whatever you feed your mind in this state does not simply pass through. It settles, takes root, and becomes part of how you perceive and respond to life. This is why the thoughts you choose before closing your eyes hold such power over the quality of your rest and the direction of your future. Too often, people fall asleep replaying arguments, worrying about tomorrow, or regretting what cannot be undone. These thoughts may seem small, but the subconscious does not filter them out. It takes them as truth and works on them throughout the night. When you wake up, you may feel unrested, not because your body did not sleep, but because your subconscious spent the night rehearsing fear or guilt. The mind that falls asleep in turmoil wakes up in turmoil. The mind that falls asleep in peace wakes up with clarity. To program your subconscious positively is to take control of what your inner world is rehearsing and building while you rest. This programming begins with awareness. You must first notice the patterns of thought that dominate your nights. If they are negative, heavy, or restless, then you know that your subconscious is being fed with poison rather than nourishment. The act of programming positively is like redirecting water into a healthier channel. Instead of allowing the mind to wander into worry, you guide it gently into gratitude, calmness, or visions of strength. Even something as simple as affirming to yourself, "I am enough, I am learning, I am growing," can shift the entire direction of your subconscious activity. These affirmations do not need to be dramatic. What matters is consistency, because repeated messages carve pathways in the subconscious like rivers shaping valleys. Visualization is another powerful way to program the subconscious before bed. When you imagine yourself overcoming challenges, living with peace, or embodying strength, the subconscious begins to accept this as reality. It does not distinguish between what is vividly imagined and what is lived. It only absorbs. By visualizing the life you want, you are planting mental blueprints that influence your actions, emotions, and choices in the days ahead. If you consistently close your eyes at night picturing fear, you reinforce fear. If you consistently close your eyes picturing growth and peace, you reinforce growth and peace. Gratitude is perhaps the simplest and most accessible positive program. Before bed, shifting your focus to what went well, however small, reminds your subconscious to anchor itself in abundance rather than lack. A mind that goes to sleep in gratitude wakes up with resilience, because it has trained itself to see opportunities instead of obstacles. This practice not only improves sleep, but also changes the emotional tone of your waking life. Gratitude acts like a soft light, guiding your subconscious through the night, protecting it from the darkness of worry and negativity. Programming your subconscious positively before bed is not about ignoring reality or pretending life is free of challenges. It is about choosing what to magnify. The mind will always have material to work with, but you decide which material to give it. By deliberately focusing on constructive, compassionate, and empowering thoughts, you build a reservoir of inner strength that carries into the next day. Over time, the subconscious becomes trained to default toward positivity and resilience rather than fear and defeat. When you make this practice a habit, bedtime becomes more than just a physical rest. It becomes a ritual of renewal. You are not simply ending the day, but planting the beginning of the next. The subconscious does not sleep when you do. It works in silence, shaping your beliefs, your emotions, and your perspective. By choosing what you feed it, you are shaping who you will become. And when you rise in the morning, you rise with the quiet strength of someone who has not been at war with themselves through the night, but who has been building, healing, and preparing for the day ahead. Practicing gratitude at night is one of the most powerful ways to transform the quality of your rest and the energy with which you wake. When the day is over, the mind often lingers on what went wrong, what could have been better, or what remains unfinished. These thoughts stir restlessness and carry the weight of dissatisfaction into the night. Gratitude interrupts this cycle by deliberately shifting your attention to what you are thankful for. Even the smallest blessings, you create a gentle space of peace within yourself. This practice prepares not only your body for sleep, but also your heart and mind for renewal. Gratitude changes the emotional atmosphere you carry into the night, turning what could have been heavy into something light, and what could have been restless into calmness. Gratitude is not about pretending that the day was perfect. It is about choosing to notice the gifts that were hidden within it, however small or ordinary they may seem. Perhaps someone smiled at you. Perhaps you completed a task you had been putting off. Perhaps you simply had the chance to breathe, to eat, or to see the sky. When you place your focus on these gifts before closing your eyes, you remind yourself that even in difficulty, life offers moments of goodness. This recognition changes the way your subconscious processes the day. Instead of amplifying problems, it amplifies appreciation, and this state of appreciation creates rest that is deeper, calmer, and more restorative. Practicing gratitude at night also trains the mind to release what it cannot control. The day is finished, its challenges cannot be undone, and its opportunities have passed. Worrying about them will not change anything. Gratitude, however, allows you to accept the day as it was, and to close it with peace instead of resistance. When you say to yourself, "I am grateful for what this day has given me," you are acknowledging its imperfections, while still honoring its value. This act alone reduces mental tension, and allows you to let go, creating an inner environment that welcomes rest. Another profound effect of gratitude at night is the way it shapes your perception of the future. What you carry into your sleep is what your subconscious mind continues to dwell on through the night. If you fill it with worries, it will rehearse those worries in your dreams and in your energy. But if you fill it with gratitude, it will rehearse appreciation and abundance. You wake up more optimistic, more resilient, and more open to possibilities, because your subconscious has been primed to see life through the lens of thankfulness rather than scarcity. This is why gratitude is not just an act for the present moment, but an investment in tomorrow's mindset. Gratitude also softens the heart. When you reflect on the kindness of others, the opportunities you were given, or the simple fact of being alive, your heart relaxes from the tension it carries. Bitterness and resentment cannot survive where gratitude is present. By practicing it at night, you ensure that you do not fall asleep with anger or disappointment weighing heavily on your chest. Instead, you invite a sense of humility and openness. You begin to see yourself not as someone burdened by what is missing, but as someone blessed with what is already there. This softening of the heart improves not only your sleep, but also your relationships and your sense of connection to life itself. It is important to remember that gratitude is a choice. There will always be reasons to complain, reasons to feel dissatisfied, reasons to dwell on what did not go well. But there will also always be reasons to give thanks. The difference lies in where you direct your attention. At night, when the mind naturally tends to replay the events of the day, gratitude becomes a compass that steers your focus toward the light instead of the shadows. Over time, this practice becomes second nature. You train yourself to close each day not with bitterness or regret, but with appreciation. Practicing gratitude at night is like closing the book of your day with a gentle blessing. No matter how chaotic or imperfect the chapters were, you end with words of thankfulness, and that final note carries into your rest. It changes the way you dream, the way you wake, and the way you greet the next sunrise. Gratitude transforms the ordinary act of sleep into a sacred ritual of renewal, reminding you that every day is a gift, and that even in the darkest nights, there is always something to be thankful for. Building powerful habits in small moments is one of the most profound truths about personal growth and transformation. Many people believe that change comes only through massive decisions, grand gestures, or extraordinary acts of willpower, but in reality, it is the small and often overlooked moments that shape the direction of a life. Habits are built not in the rare flashes of inspiration, but in the quiet choices repeated day after day. Each small action, consistent and intentional, becomes a brick in the foundation of who you are becoming. Over time, these bricks form the structure of your character, your discipline, and ultimately your destiny. A small moment may not feel significant when it happens. Choosing to breathe deeply instead of reacting in anger, deciding to reflect for 5 minutes before bed, or showing gratitude for something simple may seem like drops in an ocean. Yet the ocean itself is made of drops. Every choice, no matter how small, contributes to the larger pattern of your life. If you consistently fill these moments with awareness and discipline, you create momentum that grows stronger than any single burst of effort ever could. Greatness is never a sudden event. It is the natural outcome of small habits practiced with persistence. Habits are powerful because they remove the need for constant decision making. Once established, they operate almost automatically, shaping behavior without conscious effort. This is why small moments matter so much. Every time you repeat an action in a moment of choice, you are training your mind and body to respond in that way again. A single moment of choosing discipline may not change your life instantly, but repeated hundreds of times, it builds an identity rooted in strength. Likewise, small moments of neglect or carelessness accumulate, forming habits of weakness that eventually erode resilience. You are always building habits, whether you realize it or not. The question is whether those habits are empowering or destructive. The beauty of building powerful habits in small moments is that it is accessible to everyone. You do not need extraordinary resources, nor do you need perfect conditions. You only need awareness and intention in the present. Every person has the ability to pause, to breathe, to choose gratitude, to choose kindness, to choose discipline. These are not monumental acts, yet their consistency makes them monumental over time. By focusing on what is within reach in the moment, you gradually create a life that seems extraordinary to others, though it is only the natural result of ordinary moments lived with awareness. Small habits also have a compounding effect. Just as a single coin invested grows over time with interest, a single small habit compounds in value the longer it is practiced. 5 minutes of reflection before bed each night may not seem transformative at first, but over months and years, it deepens self-awareness, sharpens focus, and strengthens peace of mind. Choosing to respond calmly in one conversation may seem minor, but repeated over many interactions, it builds patience and respect that strengthen relationships. The compounding nature of habits means that the smallest seed, if nurtured consistently, can grow into the largest tree. Another important truth about building powerful habits in small moments is that they are sustainable. Grand gestures often burn out because they require energy that cannot be maintained over time. Small habits, however, fit naturally into daily life. They do not overwhelm, they integrate. This is why they endure. The person who commits to one mindful breath every night before sleep will last longer than the person who tries to meditate for an hour once a month. The one who chooses small acts of discipline daily becomes stronger than the one who waits for rare chances to prove strength. Sustainability is born from simplicity, and simplicity lies in small moments. Ultimately, building powerful habits in small moments is about identity. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, gratitude over complaint, or patience over anger, you are casting a vote for the person you want to become. One vote does not decide the outcome, but many votes over time create certainty. Your identity is shaped by these repeated choices, and once your identity shifts, your life follows. The process may be slow and quiet, but it is certain. By honoring the small moments, you are sculpting yourself into someone who no longer struggles to live with discipline and strength, but embodies them naturally. Life is not transformed by waiting for extraordinary opportunities. It is transformed by using the ordinary moments wisely. Small decisions, practiced consistently, become habits, and habits become destiny. This is the essence of true growth, to build power not through sudden effort, but through steady, deliberate choices made in the smallest moments of every day.